talked yesterday about Jalen being banged up. Who are those defensive linemen you guys are counting on this week with Jalen being banged up?
Really the same ones. I mean, Jalen's been out for a while, right? So Nas, Bear, Bill Norton, Jonathan Jefferson, Warren Brinson. Those are the interior guys that get the abundance of reps. Christian Miller would factor in that. All those guys.
We're getting a chance to catch up with Tykee. I asked you about it a little bit the other day, but what can you tell us about it? It looks like on his Twitter feed, that kind of stuff, he loves representing Philadelphia, where he's from, and obviously he had a great career going at West Virginia. In general, how have you seen his attitude? Because obviously he wasn't able to show up here and have the impact I'm sure he was hoping to have.
He's done everything we've asked. You know, he had an unfortunate injury that happens, and you know, there's guys walking all over the NFL with the same injury he had. I still think the guys are usually better the next year after that injury, and he's in the first year recovering from it. And he's done a really good job. He's very bright and he's extremely conscientious. Those two things will get you far when you're intelligent and you ask really smart questions. He takes the initiative, watches a lot of tape. So he's done everything we've asked, and great kid.
Yeah, Kirby, with Nazir Stackhouse, just how has he come along this year, taking on more of a bigger role, and is he one of those guys that's really benefited from that scout team experience you talk about so much?
Yeah, he spent a lot of time down there and grew and get better. I can remember when he first got here, you know, his block recognition, his ability to play blocks and strike blocks was not anywhere near it is now. I think Trey Scott's done an incredible job with Nas of developing him, and it's, you know, very similar progression to those other guys that we've had. He just gets better with each year. He's smarter, he's wiser. You know, and the defensive line is not a position you just walk in and play. It's a lot of things that can happen to you when you play inside, and they happen enough times you figure it out. It's not just ability; it's recognition of plays and back blocks and pullers. And he does a really good job now of playing that, and he's been a big part of our success inside.
Kirby, I wanted to ask about Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins. I noticed on the participation chart he didn't play. I wanted to see if you might be dealing with anything. And Chaz Chambliss, did he make the trip with you guys to Missouri?
No, Chaz was dealing with a hamstring last week and didn't make the trip. He was here rehabbing, and he's fighting back this week. It's not as bad as Nyland's was. We hope to get him back, but don't know when it'll be. And then Tyrion, he was on the trip. He was there. You know, Smael and Michael just played more snaps than him, and he continued to develop and get better. So it's up to Tyrion on how he practices and the things he does that determines how much he plays. I mean, we want to play as many guys as we can play, and he knows that.
Kirby, what are your thoughts as a coach when you see Jalen Carter go down again? Just gets bad now, he's going back for a couple games. What are your thoughts as a coach in those moments? And I guess you touched on that a bit earlier, but thoughts going forward for the next couple games, whatever, however long he's out.
Yeah, I hate it for Jalen. You know, as a guy that's had a good 2 years, really talented, and you know, the very first play of the year is when the ankle got injured. He played on adrenaline in the Oregon game, and then, you know, struggled to get back, and he got back and he really felt good, and then, you know, different injury. It really didn't have anything to do with the ankle. So tough is the only way to put it, but it's part of football, and you know, our mantra around here is next man up, and we've had a lot of that with the inside players, with guys dinged up and banged up, and next man up and go play the snaps for them.
Hey Kirby, what have you made of Jamon Dumas-Johnson's progress he's made as a leader and being sort of the guy in that linebacker room?
He's been great. He's been very vocal. He is an energetic, passionate guy, which it requires to play that position. He directs his energy usually in the right way, and that's a big part of being a young player is understanding how and when to apply your energy. And I think he's done a good job of that, and he'll continue to. He's a good football player.
What is it like to have such a young player like Malaki Starks that can make the plays that he's been doing, and what do you expect from him moving forward?
It's great to have a young guy because you know you got him to develop him, but it's a work in progress. You know, there's things that happen with Richard LeCount, Lewis Seen, all those guys that have played. I go back to the number of mistakes they have to make before they get it right. Malachi's not really any different. I mean, he makes mistakes each and every practice, and he keeps chopping. He keeps getting better. He doesn't let one mistake get him down. I think he's come to the realization that you're going to make mistakes, and don't make them twice, and learn from them. And I'm really proud of his maturation process, and I think he's going to be a leader for us as he grows confidence.
Kirby, do you guys carve out a little bit more time for ball security in practice after you have a couple games like that, or obviously early in the season you didn't have that issue?
No, I mean the emphasis is put on ball security every day. There's not a day that we don't start practice with something to do with ball security. So I would think that if you weren't putting emphasis on it in the beginning, then you're not a very smart coach. There's a process to what we do, and we believe in the way we practice, and it's worked. So a lot of it is on the individual to carry it, and we might scream and yell at the scout team to strip it more and try to create more contact for a guy, but we don't change the drills we do now.
Kirby, Auburn's kind of been a fast starting team. I guess these last 5 SEC losses, they've actually led every team by double digits, including LSU. What do you make of that upside ceiling for Auburn, and how do you explain kind of that dynamic we've seen out of that program?
Don't know how to answer that. I don't know the game. Only games I'm relevant to are the ones this year. After we played them last year, I don't really know what games you're referencing, and I didn't watch them probably. But this year's games, they have started fast. They obviously started fast on LSU, jumped up on Missouri as well, and good plan, well coached, playing at home. I mean, a lot of things there that factor into that.
Kirby, I wanted to ask you about Tate. If I'm not mistaken, it was a very similar injury to what David Marshall had a few years ago, and David's lingered. How's Tate doing with that injury? And also wanted to get an update on Smael and what he's been able to do for a couple days. Yeah,
Tate's been great. He hasn't complained about it any. It is a hard injury to get over. I think he would be the first to he would never tell you, but he fights every day out there because that foot is a long process to get back from. I would still say I don't know that he's at 100%, but he would probably tell you he is. He gives us everything he's got each and every day, and really smart and really physical player. He continues to get better the more he plays. Smael's struggling a little bit. He's he's got an ankle that happened in the game. I guess he played on pure adrenaline because he did go back in the game and play, but he's been hurting a little bit. He's been in a brace, and he's been able to practice some, but we got several beat up guys out there that's been tough. Some guys that are beat up from that last game and hurting a little bit. So it's one of those that we've got next man up mentality.
Kirby, what kind of response have you seen this week from Javon coming off that suspension?
He's paid really attention to detail. He practiced with us last week. He went down on the scout team, and a lot of the things carry over. So he went down on the scout team, took reps, and he was on scout special teams. And great thing about Javon is he competed. Like, he was down there going as hard as anybody, and I think that's very indicative of his character and what he stands for, that he practices really hard regardless of what his role is, and hopefully he'll continue to do that and not skip a beat.
So a minute ago you talked a bit about Auburn's quick start. Missouri had a quick start with their defensive line last week. What's your message to you guys going into the next week, making sure that they get a better start against Auburn's defensive line?
Strike and attack. I mean, it's not a real complicated message. It's going to be a real physical game.
Other questions?
Kirby, considering what happened to Missouri the week before they played you guys, I kind of noticed when Brock was going in with a chance to score right there for that game-winning touchdown, he didn't stick the ball out. He kind of tucked it and fell to the one. What do you guys teach as far as that goes?
Never stick it out unless it's fourth down. Same thing that Eli teaches. I mean, we talked about it before the game. I mean, there's not a coach out there that it's worth sticking the ball out prior to fourth down. You'll take that risk on fourth down because the alternative is you don't score. But with another down, you never, ever stick the ball out. I thought the same thing. I thought Brock actually consciously was about to do it and said, maybe this isn't worth it, and didn't do it, but we've had guys do it too. It's not like any of us are immune to it. Guys make decisions in the heat of the moment, and you you don't want players to do it. But we've done drills here before where you get close and you don't. And Coach Dale does a drill with his players, but at the end of the day, it's a valuable possession of the ball, and you can't afford to lose it.
Just wanted to ask how A.D. Mitchell's coming along in the first 2 days of practice this week. Is he gonna be available, do you think?
I don't know. I feel much better. He hit some good speeds yesterday and conditioning, and did some cuts. I didn't get to see him practice as much today when I was with the defense. He went in some of the scout periods. I'll get to watch this tape, but it looks very promising from what I saw yesterday in terms of him running. I don't know how much the role will be. We'll see, but we got a lot of guys banged up, so it's going to be done by committee at a lot of places.
I was just gonna ask you about Darnell Washington in the red zone. It seems like he would be a popular target. I mean, how much of the offense is? It seems like it's always taking what they give you, but sometimes do you gotta kind of, I don't know if force is the right word, but look for certain guys in certain positions in the field?
Yeah, we've called several plays in those situations for him, and some of them are based on the look, and some of them are based on the protection. There's plays built for a guy to be a red zone target. He certainly is that, but if you miss a protection or you miss a guy or they play a certain coverage, you got to go somewhere else. There's doubles on guys in the interior. There was one of the calls was to him on the play that Brock made against South Carolina, but the look they gave us dictated to go to Brock, and there's been several like that. But he's certainly a weapon that we have to use.
What did you see from Arian in his return back?
Well, I thought he had a series where he got in the game in 2 minutes, and he had to stay in the game. And during 2 minutes, you don't sub. And he got 3 or 4 plays in a row, which that was really promising to see him go out there and execute 3-4 plays in a row. Actually got a catch, so that was big for his confidence. And getting hit and tackled, which is big for his confidence. But he's missed so much time. He's still developing as a receiver. If you could take all the time he's been out, I still think it's greater than the time he's been in since he's been here. And he's raw as a receiver, and he's gotten so much better. And we got to find ways to use his athletic ability.
Just want to see if Kenny McIntosh quad group just be a little better this week.
Yeah, Kenny's been great. He's had a really good 2 days of practice, and I think him not getting that hit again last week really helped him for this week. So he's been good.
Time for maybe 2 more. Anybody?
I was just gonna ask you about the Auburn run game and Bigsby and how they use him. I heard you comment on him earlier, how dangerous he could be.
Yeah, we think 2 of probably the best backs in the SEC actually together. Hunter kid is strong, physical. When you chart the number of broken tackles those 2 guys have had together, it's as much as anybody in our conference. And you package that with a quarterback who is super fast and really elite. You've got 3. Tackling is going to be at a premium in this game because they're big physical guys, including the quarterback, that you got to wrap up and knock back tackles. So I've been very impressed with the backs.
Last question, anybody? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, buddy. You want to there, Jordan?